Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
Today on Ask the Messengers, we bring you another episode from our author series with Kimberly Mallory. On this episode, Kimberly's guests are Dr. Sylathia Hollie, who talks about her book, When Your Right-Hand Man is a Woman. Plus, Minister Arlinda Miller talks about her book, Refreshing Meditations. Also, Gina L shares her recovery story and how her children saved her on Christmas Eve. Ask the Messengers begins now.
Today, I have an author series and have an amazing author with us, Dr. Sylathia Hollie, also known as Dr. Lacey. So I'm going to be calling you Dr. Lacey throughout the show. So Dr. Lacey, I went over your book and I had a chance to read your book, and the title blew me away. And it says, When Your Right-Hand Man is a Woman, Empowerment Essentials for Women in Leadership. Man, that is a powerful title. So what I'm going to ask for you today is tell the audience a little bit about that title and tell us about your book.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me, Kimberly. I'm so excited today about being here. Just to introduce myself to your audience, my name is Dr. Sylathia Hollie, and I am the author of the book, When Your Right-Hand Man is a Woman, Empowerment Essentials for Women in Leadership. And the book is just that. It's filled with resources and tools to help women to walk in their leadership role.
But what inspired you to write this book?
Kim, this book was down on the inside of me, it seems like, for many years. And God began to birth this book in me when I started serving as the assistant pastor for my church. I was the first woman to occupy that role. And God began to, at that time, deal with me about gender biases that keep us from fulfilling our destiny.
I know that you're a published author and you did write and finish your book through the midst of COVID. Tell us what kept you so motivated to continue to write this book.
Well, Kim, I believe that the pandemic unfortunately had some really negative impacts, but the positive impact from it was that it gave us an opportunity to pull away from everything and to pull away from our usual tasks and to begin to center and really think about what we wanted to do with the next step of our life. So the pandemic just offered me some time that I generally wouldn't have had because my job called me out in the field. And so it just gave me the opportunity to be able to focus on writing. I knew I wanted to write, but the pandemic gave me the opportunity to write.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what exactly is in your book?
Thank you for asking that. That's a great question. So in my book, I've spent the last 3 decades in management and leadership. And I believe that God allowed me to pick up some tools as it deals with relating to people, dealing with management, owning your gifts. Many times we have things down on the inside of us that we don't believe in ourselves. And so my books gives you the tools to be able to overcome the fears and the things that block you from moving forward in your God-given purpose. Sometimes we feel like because I've done this in my past, or because of my gender, or because of my race, or because I'm an ex-addict or I was abused, I can't. My book empowers women to know that no matter what your background is, your skill set, you have God-given skills and abilities to be able to fulfill your destiny.
That is good. That is some good information. So with that being said, Dr. Lacey, do me a favor, look right into that camera and just give us all some words of encouragement.
Well, I just want to speak to someone out there today that you may have been conditioned to believe because of your background, because of your gender, even because of your race. There were certain things that you haven't been able to do or that you didn't have the competence to do. But I want you to know today that your talents, your abilities, your gender, your design, and your makeup was given to you by God. And you owe it to us to be the best you that you can be. You need to show up in the world and use your gifts and abilities and stop being afraid and hindered by man. Move forward in what God has given you to do, because the next book and the next great person is the one that's sitting in front of that television right now.
All right. Powerful, powerful words. So I do want to thank you so much for coming on Ask the Messengers with your powerful message. And you can find her book also on Amazon, When Your Right-Hand Man is a Woman, by Sylathia Hollie. Thank you again for joining us here at Ask the Messengers.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. It's been a pleasure.
Coming up, Gina L shares her recovery story. And later, our author series with Kimberly Mallory continues with Minister Arlinda Miller, author of the book Refreshing Meditations.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
My name is Gina L. My clean date is December 25th, 2008. My drug of choice was marijuana, alcohol, and crack cocaine. The first drug was alcohol. And my mother used to have these intimate settings with gentlemen callers, and they would always have this Morgan David wine. And she would, they would leave the front room or wherever, and I would find the wine, find their cups, and I wanted to taste it, and I would taste their wine. And she worked at Chrysler, so when she picked me up, when she come home from work, I would smell the weed coming from her car, and I always wanted to know what had my mom so happy, so giddy. She was fun, and I wanted to know what it was she had. And so I would take her, she would leave the little tails in the ashtray, and I would take take the little tail out the ashtray, and I would put the fire to it and light it and pull on it. I started early. So when in high school, when my classmates were in school studying and doing what they were supposed to do, and I found that off crowd that didn't want to go to school, that always had the parties, and I was at their house, and they would go home and go on about their merry little lives, and I'd still be trying to find me one more. It wasn't until they were graduating and I wasn't. And out of embarrassment, I didn't, I just got lost in my neighborhood and started hanging out with the people that did drugs. And so I wouldn't have to face the realities of not graduating from high school. Then shortly thereafter, having kids. And because I didn't graduate, I felt like I couldn't be a mom. I could have the baby, but as far as raising the baby, I didn't have the patience that it took, to raise the kid. So I would leave the kid with my mother, and the cycle just kept repeating itself. Like I had 4 kids and I didn't raise any of them. And you could find me always in somebody's dope house or around some liquor store, or I found myself walking the stroll trying to find one more. It's like it was like I just sunk down into this impending doom, as they say in the book. As our book says, it's just of like not wanting to face my own realities. My kids came and got me from a dope house December 24th. When they called and said, Mom, we want you to come home. And I said, I'll be home when I get these Christmas presents for y'all. And they said, no, we don't want no presents. We just want you. And something in me just broke in such a way that I gave in. It's like, it was almost like something had just lifted from me. Like like the fog was starting to like open up where I could actually see. And I was quiet on the phone, and I'm looking around, and I'm in this room, that I'm in. I had just like done the last the drugs that I had on me at that time. And it was Christmas Eve, and there were kids in the other room, and the young lady that I was with at that time, her and I had just hit a lick. And so she had went out to go and take care of some more business. And then she was supposed to be coming back with she never came back. And I told my kids, I said, okay, I'll be there in the morning. And they said, no. They said, Mom, if you just give us the address where you are, we'll come and get you. And I said, you'll come and get me? And they said, yeah, we want you to be our Christmas present. So we're going to come and get you. And I went out and opened the door and looked at the address where I was and gave them the address to where I was. And that morning, they came and got me. So I took my last hit at about 11:15, December 24th. And literally there was nothing else to hit. And I didn't leave. I cried. I prayed. I went out and saw these kids who belonged to the girl that I was with. These were her kids and her grandkids. And they were all laying like on the couch, on the front room, on a pallet on the floor. And they were all by this Christmas tree, and they were hungry. And I just felt, like something just said, what are you doing? Like my conscience just like kicked in. Like I felt so guilty. It's like, what the hell are you doing? And I couldn't feed them. There was nothing in the kitchen to eat. I told them I was gonna call their mom and their grandma. And I went back in the room, and I stayed in the room until my kids came that morning. Those kids finally did go off to sleep. And she called me about 6 that morning and said that she'll be there in a minute, and she never came. And I said, well, look, my kids are coming to get me. So somebody need to be here with these babies, because I'm getting ready to go. And her daughter, her oldest daughter, came. I guess she was about 20. She came. My kids came and got me. And I got in the car, and I just felt relieved, and I felt embarrassed all at the same time. But their love, they're hugging me and holding me and telling me that they love me. I'm sorry, to this day, it still brings tears to my eyes to know that was the moment that my life changed and my recovery began. And I haven't looked back since.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
Welcome to the program today, Arlinda.
Thank you. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're so very welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here. So I just want to just jump right in. So I understand that the title of your book is Refreshing Meditation, a 30-day journal. Now, What made you decide to write a 30-day journal?
The interesting thing is I've always wanted to write some form of book. and I didn't know in what direction that it was going to come in. But I had a wonderful person who inspired me to go forward and do that. And her name is Reverend Rita Henderson. So she motivated me to go forward and write this 30-day journal. And the reason for the journal was because I want people who have a relationship with God or don't have a relationship with God to be able to get in tune with this journal so that they can get into a relationship with God, either continue it or be able to learn about it and learn about who God is.
As I was going through your journal, I see it's like 98 days, 98 pages. And
Yes.
So in your journal, you also have some place where someone can write some information. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because sometimes when we're reading or when we're studying, we need to, not need to, but sometimes people feel as though that they need to write down what they're hearing or what they're feeling, so they can bring it back to their remembrance. Because one thing about a journal, you can always go back and look at it and read it, and you might read something and your whole mindset or thoughts might have changed. So you can go back and reflect on what you wrote. And, because when you read the word of God, it's not always the same. He's going to give you something else. And so you might want to write it down during that time at another time.
Now, I want to focus on this word right here, refreshing meditation. Now, a lot of people don't really know about meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just tell us a little bit about the word itself, meditation?
Meditation is when you are thinking about, so you're reading the book, and it is not the book, I'm sorry, the journal, and you come across a scripture, and there might be a word or just a little phrase that stick out, and it's going to cause you to sit back. You should, sit back and, think about it, ponder on it. And that's what meditating is about, where you are just thinking about it and allowing God to reveal more to you about what that saying or that word or that phrase mean to you and how it's going to impact your life and your walk as you take this journey in life.
That is good. That's good, because a lot of people really don't know how to meditate or even what meditation is. Now, I want to just jump into a story about you, and it made me realize that you had meditated through some things that you had gone through in your life. So can you tell us a little bit, just take us back a little bit, starting out with the cancer and the COVID. Just tell us a little bit of how you meditated and you got through what it was that you went through.
Well, when those two entities, or whatever you want to call them, happened to me, I already had a relationship. I believe that I already had a relationship with God, meaning that I talk to him all the time. I meditate on the word all the time. So when those things happened to me, I didn't fret or anything. I didn't have any doubt. I just knew that God was going to take care of me because of the word, because of being in the word and meditating on the word day and night and letting him just talk to me. And one thing about meditating is not about you always talking or talking to God and having a conversation with him. It's about being still sometimes and allowing the Lord to talk to you. He's the author of everything. We don't know anything. So we have to be still and be quiet so that we can hear what it is that he's trying to tell us. So your comment about the COVID and cancer, I had COVID first. I had pneumonia with COVID together. The cancer came later. But one thing about having the COVID, God told me the story is long, so I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but in the hospital, because I did end up going to the hospital, they thought they were going to have to vent me, but my God came in and said, no. Then I almost died. That's the testimony that don't nobody know that I have to share. I almost died. And he told me, he came to me because there was no nurses, nobody in the room. And I'm like, feeling my spirit man starting to rise up out my body, like I'm not ready to die, and I'm shaking it like trying to put it back in. And I'm like, he had to tell me like in so many words because I had to listen to him. He was like, you're not in control. You don't control if you die or not. So you can shake basically all you want. He said, but what I need you to do, he said, I need you to breathe. He said, you're not going to die. Just breathe. And at that moment, because of my relationship that I have with him, I was able to relax. Was I scared? Absolutely. But did I have faith and trust? Absolutely. And I had to do exactly what he told me to do. And that was to relax, because he told me that I was not going to die, just to breathe. And I just relaxed, and the rest is history.
Wow, what a powerful story of faith. Because
Yes.
that's exactly what that is. Okay, so what I would like for you to do, Miss Arlinda, look into that camera right now and give someone some words of encouragement.
The words of encouragement is that I need for everybody to have faith. I need for you to get into the word and realize that God is your maker. He is your creator. He is your all in all. And what we have to do is walk by faith and making sure that our hearts are open to receive him, and he will never forsake you. You just have to believe that he is your all in all. That's my word of encouragement.
Well, that is such a wonderful testimony that you shared with us today and shared with the audience. We truly appreciate you being here with us on this author series. Get your copy now of Refreshing Meditations, 30-Day Journal by Arlinda Miller, available now on Amazon.
For anybody that is struggling, let me be the first one to tell you that you can go from abandonments to a home. You can go from an emptiness to being fulfilled. You can go from degradation, isolation, loss of control to peace, happiness, wholeness. You can live a full life. Today, I work towards being the best possible me. And I do understand that the drugs was only a symptom of my problem. My problem, my real problem, was not alcohol, was not crack cocaine, was not marijuana. My real problem was me. I didn't like who I saw when I looked in the mirror. And I wish you could have seen me fixing my hair before I came on this show so I could show that it gets better. So I'm thankful, and I hope you stick and stay, and I hope you keep coming back, and I hope that you don't give up on yourself. We used to say around here, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens, or don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. And I had to learn how to do that, how to not leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens, because miracles happen.
Well, that concludes this episode of Author Series with Kimberly Mallory. Thank you again to her guest authors for writing books that will encourage and uplift us. We also thank Gina L for her willingness to share her recovery testimony. Until next time, may you seek a power greater than yourself so that you too can turn your mess into a message that will help save lives. Continue to stay safe, and most importantly, be kind and love one another.
Won't you help us to do exactly what our motto is, and that is to help save lives? Won't you send a generous donation to the information there on the screen? We would love to have you as part of our partnership to help save lives. You may not be able to go out in the street, you may not be able to come here to the show, but you can send your donation that helps us save lives.
If you or someone you know is experiencing anything that seems to be too hard to handle, Please know there is a way out and don't hesitate or be afraid to seek help.